For the Defense of Democracy is joining us now from Washington, D.C., Mr. Schanzer. Thanks for taking time out of your evening of Christmas Day to join us here. Do you know anything more about the motive behind these bombings?
Well, what we're seeing here is a trend that has been taking place in Iraq really over the last several years, and that is the targeting of a very small Christian community inside Iraq. This has been a favorite target of jihadi groups, including Al-Qaeda, in fact, most notably Al-Qaeda. And so, unfortunately, what we're seeing is more of the same amidst an uptick of attacks across Iraq, where we've seen really a high of more than 400 deaths this month and more than 8,000 this year.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Do we know what's driving that increase generally in violence in that country?
Well, I think a couple of things. Number one, the fact that the United States is on its way out has certainly left a door open for Al-Qaeda to make a resurgence, and I think this is going to be one of those prices that we pay for exiting Iraq. There's also the problem of Syria. Basically, we have Al-Qaeda pouring in from Iraq into Syria. It has been going through a resurgence there as well. And so what we have now is sort of an amalgam of Al-Qaeda groups that are getting stronger every day, and they don't really recognize the border between Syria and Iraq, and so there's a lot of transiting in between with attacks in both countries, basically at will.
Well, I want to explore that thought a little bit farther because it has been commonly believed Iraq supports terrorist groups in that region, and now Iraq's prime minister says the Syria crisis is feeding terrorism in his own country. So does his belief actually have validity?
It does. I mean, look, what we have right now in Syria, we have two groups that are of primary concern. One is called the Nusra Front, or Jabhat al-Nusra. The other one is called ISIS, or the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. Both of those have been born from Al-Qaeda of Iraq, the same group that was responsible for attacking Allied forces during the Iraq War of the last decade. And so what's happened is that they've basically spawned these new groups, and they are growing. They're growing in the number of attacks that they're willing to carry out. They're growing in number in terms of the people who are fighting on their behalf, and they're getting bolder every day. So it's very true that this has actually been born from Iraq, and it is spreading throughout the region.
Are you able to envision any solutions that may eventually lead to peace?
Well, look, I think the real challenge right now is trying to figure out a way to bring the Syria crisis to an end. If we can do that, then you might actually begin to roll back these affiliate groups that are operating out of Syria. The problem of Iraq is a much deeper one, because basically with the United States leaving, you have a vacuum. You have groups that have either been sponsored by the Iranians or sponsored by Al-Qaeda that are squaring off. It's very much a sectarian battle. This was very much what we were trying to prevent after the invasion of Iraq back in 2003, and really for the couple of years after that. And so now that we're leaving, you get a sense that that this sectarian battle is very much creeping back into the picture.
Jonathan Schanzer, Vice President for Research at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracy, speaking with us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Schanzer, thanks a lot for this.